What's up, people? It's your boy Mick and my man Jaren, and we with you guys for another puff a minute right now. It's Friday, you know what I'm saying, and this is what we do. What's good with you today, Jaren?
Man, I can't complain. Another good Friday. Out here getting to enjoy this beautiful weather out here in Vegas. It's still people getting snow, man. We in the 90s out here.
It feels like 100 right now,
Yeah.
bro. For real, you know. But loving it, loving every minute of it, guys. Like we said, why go on vacation when you can live on vacation? You know, and that's what we do out here in the LV. You feel me? So listen, it's Memorial Day weekend, and what do I got? Okay, no, I'm wearing something different. I had on my military hat a little earlier. You know, definitely want to remember the fallen that's out there. Want to shout out to all the people who are still serving our country. You know, you got any Memorial Day folks that you like to remember in particular during this time of year?
Oh, definitely. None falling. Thank God he's been making it through, but my brother's still serving out in Fort Hood, Texas. So shouts out to him and be in prayers for him.
Outstanding, yeah. No doubt, no doubt. I guess the closest thing that hits home to me, man, you know, Memorial Day weekend, and if I'm going to remember someone who's fallen, you know, I got to shout out the family of Lieutenant Sean McPhee, who I served with on the USS Kincaid. You know, we lost him in a collision at sea, to which the Navy conveniently turned around and blamed the entire accident on him because he was a navigation officer. But those of us who were there, we know the truth behind it. You know, so just shout out to his family, man, because he kind of got a raw deal, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, man, you know, there's a lot of people out there giving their lives for this country, you know, and they should be remembered, you know?
Definitely.
So that's what's up with that, man. But again, if you're out there celebrating, you're hitting the barbecues, you know, get you a good smoke, you know, and enjoy the weekend, man. What you smoking on today?
Man, I got this nice punch rare Corojo popping. Man, one of my favorites. Can't even miss it.
Yeah, you've been a punch man for a while, bro.
Since I started smoking.
Is that right?
But that ain't been that long. So. And yeah, it got me set up with a nice glass of blends.
There you go.
So good pairing for today.
Yes, yes. We're definitely pairing with the blends. You know, for those of you out there who like that type of thing, man, that's what we're pairing with today. All right. I'm puffing on this Leaf by Oscar with the Connecticut rapper, man. Very, very light, buttery, mellow smoke, man. And you know, sometimes you just feel like just relaxing and being mellow, not having something that's too overwhelming and too bold. This is a great smoke for that occasion. It's kind of the mood that I'm in today. So, you know, that's what I'm enjoying right now, you know. What's on your mind, man? What you got going for the weekend?
Oh, man, kids' activities, you know how it is when you got the little ones, man. You got baseball and ballet in the same day.
True.
Try to get some relaxation in one of these days.
Right.
Might even get a chance to hit the links if I'm lucky.
Oh,
so,
wow. You got to get out there early in this heat, though.
I'm telling you.
Or pretty late, for real, you know. Hey, listen, my mind, man, my thoughts are in two areas right now. So lots of family is always the key, right? You guys know that family is the key. Prayers up right now. At this very moment, my wife's mother is undergoing surgery right now, man, so we want to keep her in prayer. You know what I'm saying? My father is also in the hospital down in Florida, so we're praying for him as well. And, you know, so just got to keep those things in mind, man. There's two things in this world that I really, really despise, man. You know what I'm saying? And one of them is cancer and the other one is Alzheimer's and stuff like that. I lost my mom to Alzheimer's, you know, my wife lost her father to cancer. So, I mean, those types of things, man, we always got to come against, man, and we got to stand strong and find a cure. You feel me? So, wow, Jay, man, there's a lot of stuff going on in the news this week, man.
Yeah, man, a lot of crazy stuff, right?
Crazy stuff, bro. Crazy
I
stuff.
already seen the memes popping, but we're going to get into it, right?
Yeah, yeah, the memes are out. The memes are out, you know, shout out to the people who put together memes and stuff like that. But one of the things, man, and again, listen, man, on the Puff a Minute, we have discussions, you know. We don't necessarily have to agree on everything, you know, but it's cigars and conversation. But one of the things that caught my eye this week was the NFL new rule, right, when it comes to kneeling in protest at the games, man. What do you think about that one?
Man, I think the best meme I saw so far was how ironic is it that people that call themselves owners are once again saying that people are not allowed to speak up and use their civil liberties to be able to have free speech and free protest and non-violent protest.
Non-violent,
right?
yeah, exactly.
You know, so it was just ironic how that kind of played out, right? So, you know, it's something that I can't believe because I think everybody should be able to have their ability to express how they feel a certain way.
True.
And they are not these men are not commodities, right? These are rare goods.
Exactly.
You cannot replace what they do on the field.
Right.
So how can you treat them as though they're just commodities
Yeah.
and you'll get another player? So we're just going to fine you for expressing yourself. I don't get it, man. I don't
Wow,
get it.
man. Yeah, you said a mouthful, brother. No, seriously, man, but it's all good. In my mindset, brother, it's like, it's almost like the American story. You know what I'm saying? When you got something that you don't know how to contend with, right, and you're in power, there's two things that you do, right? You change the narrative, and then you move the goalposts, right? And that's what I see happening here. Now the discussion is about whether or not it's disrespecting the flag. Okay, so timely for Memorial Day weekend too. But is it disrespecting the flag to exercise your civil rights, right? And that's the piece that's what we fight for, right? Freedom of speech, freedom of expression. So for someone to step in and now say that you can no longer express yourself in a way, and then move the goalposts now and say, okay, now there's new rules in place, right? These were the rules before, but these are the rules after. Right. Now you have to stay in the locker room so we don't have to see your protest. Well, what good is a protest if it's not seen or heard, right? If a tree falls in the forest and there's no one around to hear it, who gives a damn? You follow me? So that's my take on it, man. I really think that they missed the boat on this one, and I don't think that they've fully escaped the backlash yet.
No, and I think something people got to understand is these protests are not something that black people normally do, right? To sit there and say, we've served, brother, you served in the military.
Yes.
We've got family members that have served in the military. How can you ever say that any of these men are disrespecting the flag?
That's not what it was about to begin with.
Exactly.
And to begin with, all right, it was always about police brutality. But no one is addressing police brutality against a significant group of individuals, a specific group of individuals, I should say, in our society. No one's addressing that. They changed the narrative to now it's all about disrespecting a flag, and that's what I mean. That's what they changed the narrative and then moved the goalposts. Right. So no one is talking about police brutality anymore. It's all about.
It's about what are they doing to protest.
Absolutely.
The people walked on the freeway and they got mad because they couldn't get to work.
Absolutely.
No one talked about why are they on the freeway.
That's right.
That's not something normal people do.
Exactly.
I'm gonna shut down the freeway. Like, come on now.
We're just doing it to be doing it. Like, we ain't got nothing better to do.
And you're absolutely right. They changed the narrative. Yeah. They're gonna try to flip the story and make us look like the fool.
Exactly.
But they could have saved themselves and changed the narrative once again to where it became positive, right? Exactly. Now we as owners in this league have decided to make a positive move. Mm-hmm. And the Jets owner popped up and said, I'll pay my players fine.
Yes, he did.
He stepped up and said he would do that.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out to the owner of the Jets, for real.
Yeah. So it makes no sense, man. It makes no sense. They don't want to talk about the issue at hand, but they want to talk about the protest.
Exactly.
It don't make sense.
Yeah, exactly, man. So it's almost like you become a victim the second time around. Now, you may not agree with my position on that, which is fine. I respect you, right? That's what America's about. If you got a different opinion, you feel a different way about it, hey, feel free to comment. Let's keep it respectable, right? You respect each other, I should say. And I'll definitely continue to respect you, but you may have a different take on that, okay? But that's an excellent segue for the second piece that really caught my eye, because just today, the Milwaukee Police Department released a video on Sterling Brown. Have you had a chance to see that yet?
I have.
Okay.
I have.
What's your thoughts on that one?
Well, Stephen A. got a chance to talk about this on ESPN, and I totally agree with him. Sterling Brown was not being aggressive. He was trying to be respectful, but to assert himself as a man, I felt like that you weren't going to just disrespect him. And the police took offense to that. Yeah. And they realized who he was, what he was about. He was making money, a young man making money, and they showed their aggression. Yeah. It went from one officer to 3 to 4 officers, and an officer trying to tackle him, and the end result is another officer using a taser when he was not resisting.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, once again, man, just another case. We creating a military state. Yeah. The police are becoming militarized versus they're protecting the community. They're now guarding the community and starting to make us feel like hostages in the community.
Yes.
Versus taking care of us. We no longer feel like, they're representing us.
Exactly right.
So.
Exactly right. I watched the video, man, and I watched the short version, the 2-minute version that was on YouTube, but I also watched the long one, right? And my take on it is there were so many opportunities for that to just be over with. But that particular police officer kept escalating it further and further and further. Yes, the gentleman did park in the handicap zone, right? And whether he crossed 2 spaces or 1 space, it doesn't matter because he wasn't handicapped, right? So the infraction was clear, right? And he said that okay, I just was running in for a minute or what have you, but the police officer would not let it go. The only thing that needed to happen at that point, quite honestly, was he should have wrote him a citation and let him go about his merry way, and it would have been over. But what was it within that police officer to not let it go at that point? You know what I'm saying? Because the man said, hey, don't put your hands on me. You know, and the officer kept trying to force him to back up. And he's like, I'm not doing anything, and what have you. But the next thing I see, and this is why I correlated to a slow night in Milwaukee, man. Because he goes on his radio and he calls for backup. I think he called for like 1 other car, because he said he was calling his partner.
Okay.
But bro, like 6 other police vehicles showed up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And at that point, you already knew something was going to happen.
Yeah.
It's like my heart went out when I saw that, because I felt Sterling's pain. Because in that moment, as a black man in America, surrounded by 6 police cars and officers who are literally surrounding you, you know, I would have felt like this is the end of my life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm sure that thought had to cross his mind.
Yeah.
You know, so I know that he was in fear for his life at that moment. And honestly, bro, when you know, the ending that he got tased at the end, literally, that's not right. It's totally wrong. But it was almost a sigh of relief that I breathed, because I was like, oh my God, they're gonna kill another brother. You know what I'm saying? Even though I already knew the result. You know, they just released the video. This happened back in January. Right. But I'm just saying, in that moment, it could have went a totally different way. You know, but it was unnecessary. I think, you know, what you really come down to is it was unnecessary and it didn't need to happen. They should have just cited the young man, to let him go, and then to further try to humiliate him when you find out who he is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, what else have you done? Have you been to Mars? Have you been to, you know what I'm saying? That was just stupidity at its best. You know, so.
And the sad state of affairs, man, is that now we have to teach our kids how to deal with the police. They're no longer saying, you know, the police are here to take care of me, protect me. They're now here saying, I have to make sure I go home and he can do his job versus him just doing his job.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it becomes a life or death situation to encounter a police officer.
Yes.
For minor infractions.
Absolutely.
This makes no sense, but it's the reality we live in, right?
Yeah.
We would be fools if we weren't teaching our kids this.
Well, I mean, this has been the case for many years.
It has.
You know what I'm saying? And if you have children, and you haven't had that conversation with them, you're almost failing as a parent.
Absolutely.
Especially if you're a black parent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or so-called African American parent in America today. If you haven't had that conversation with your children, then you're doing them a disservice.
Absolutely.
You know, that brings up something else. And honestly, I debated whether or not I even wanted to bring this up, man. But, you know, there is a bill that has just passed the House of Republicans, right? The House of Representatives, I'm sorry. And it's in the Senate now. And they're very quietly pushing this bill through. And if you haven't heard of it, it's almost by design, trust me. But it's called the Protect and Serve Act. Now, when you hear the words protect and serve, what comes to mind, right? Everything positive, correct? You're like, oh, that's great. You know what I'm saying? The police departments around the country are going to continue to protect and serve the citizens, because that's what protect and serve means. But in all actuality, when you read this bill, okay, and I challenge anyone out there to go out and find this bill and read it and see what it's really about. What they're saying now is that if anybody so-called attacks a police officer, right, an officer of the law, then now it can be viewed as a hate crime, okay? And therefore the penalties for hate crime, as you well know, are far heavier than any other type of a simple assault. Here's the issue. There haven't been a lot of cases where people are just blatantly attacking police officers, but there have been multiple case after case after case after case of, you know, officers shooting and murdering, and I know that that's a legal term, so I should stay away from that, but with the result ending in the loss of life of an African American young man. Okay, and this has been a repetitive thing. So now, in the case of Sterling Brown, you know, should that young man had even been assaulted in a more gregarious type of way, if he had put his hands up to defend himself or what have you, right? The history is just that, right? It's his story. So if you got multiple police who are saying, hey, this gentleman attacked, or even that officer tried to change the narrative to say that, to make it seem like Sterling Brown was being the aggressive, even though it didn't match up anyway in the video. No. But if you're telling the story and you say, well, I felt threatened, which we hear time and time again, right? Now, not only is this person facing a loss of life, but now they're facing, you know, prosecution under the law for a hate crime. And I don't think that's right. I don't think it serves any purpose, any good, right? And it's going to do the opposite of perhaps what the progenitors of the bill were hoping. I think it's going to create a further chasm between the police departments and the communities that they're here to serve. And I said a lot right there, bro, but I had to get it out.
And I hope, to your last point, I hope that it was made with good intentions of protecting the police, because they do have a hard job, right?
Exactly. I'm no way anti-police.
No.
Yeah.
They have a hard job.
Right.
They want to make sure they go home to their families just as much as the people they encounter in the streets and dealing with different situations, right? But this bill, I feel personally, blatantly gives the police the right to act in any way they see appropriate, no matter the circumstances.
Yes.
And which means there could be more deaths, and on top of that, you could be charged with a crime for your own death.
Exactly. And there's already so much of that right now, right? So again, there's not enough precedence in my mind, color me ignorant, to justify a bill like this, because as I said, there aren't people who are walking around, marching around saying, hey, let's go find an officer to attack. If that was the case, then maybe it'd be something different.
Yeah.
But you said something a little earlier that I honestly feel that the country is falling into, and that is a martial law mindset. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And it's preparing the citizens of America to accept the idea of martial law. That's
there
it.
It is.
Boom.
There it is.
In a nutshell, people. Listen, it's Memorial Day weekend. Whatever your plans are, if you're hitting the barbecues, if you're going to a ball game, if you're hanging out with family, all I'm going to say is be safe out there, okay? Take care of yourself. Find you a good smoke, and pair it with something special, right? And enjoy yourself and seize the day, right? That's all we have is today, all right? Hey, it's your boy Mick. It's my man Jaron.
Always a pleasure.
Peace. It's a puff a minute. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week, same time, same back channel, Peace, and we love you. We ain't just blowing smoke out here.